Jewish Capital EPO2 Part 1 Media, Politics, and the War Economy. The Unseen Power Mechanics. Welcome. This is the second episode of our 5-part series on American Jewish capital. Today, we will examine the hidden power mechanics behind media, politics, and the military-industrial complex driven by the war economy. Since the establishment of Israel in 1948, American Jewish capital has been the most powerful sponsor behind its survival and regional expansion. Within the structure of American politics, the pro-Israel lobby has perfected a system of institutionalized influence. Under the banner of legality, Israel became more than just a nation-state. It functioned as an operational base through which financial capital realized its broader global strategies. Let us look at the institutionalization of this power through AIPAC. Formed in the late 1950s, AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, was far more than a simple advocacy group. They funded congressional campaign chests, exerted pressure on military budget allocations, and influenced public narrative through targeted media strategies and primary challenges against opposing politicians. In effect, AIPAC became an unseen hand shaping the direction of foreign policy. While operating under the banner of public diplomacy, its reality resembles a strategic architect of national security policy. The strategy surrounding campaign finance is equally sophisticated. The United States operates as a massive electoral republic. From presidential races to congressional and gubernatorial campaigns, election funding plays a decisive role. Here, capital networks adopted a dual funding strategy, extending resources to both major parties. To Democrats, they align through themes of civil rights and liberal internationalism. To Republicans, they connect through national security, anti-terrorism, and religious conservatism. As a result, regardless of which party assumes power, core strategic interests remain fully protected. This represents the true structural victory of political lobbying. Its shadow influence over intelligence and foreign policy agencies is equally profound. Through close cooperation with core U.S. national security institutions, a seamless flow was created from intelligence sharing to joint weapons development and direct policy formulation. For example, the Iron Dome missile defense system was co-developed with the U.S., receiving full federal funding support. Similarly, Mossad maintains equal-level intelligence exchanges with the CIA as a primary partner in regional intelligence networks. Furthermore, state policy announcements are frequently informed by policy papers and briefings, shaped by pro-Israel think tanks and scholars. This entire framework forms an alliance far deeper than any official treaty. Meanwhile, opposing viewpoints face systematic restraint. Journalists with dissenting perspectives are often sidelined from key editorial decisions, while media outlets are encouraged to adopt selective coverage and refine terminology regarding regional conflicts. By framing legitimate policy critiques under the umbrella of hate speech, an environment has been created where academic analysis of these power structures is often self-censored. The implications of this historical reality are clear. We must look beyond the simple premise that financial capital holds power and examine precisely where and how deep that power is embedded within the political architecture. The state apparatus often acts as an instrument through which global financial networks project influence. Operating behind the scenes, they navigate law, media, institutional frameworks, and elections. That is the true nature of the unseen hand. In modern democratic societies, the press and academia are intended to serve as guardians of public integrity. However, when these institutions become aligned with concentrated capital, public discourse loses its independence. This influence extends beyond finance and military technology. It shapes public consensus, educational curricula, and historical interpretation. In journalism, news coverage is often a carefully calculated strategy. While mainstream media is framed as an emblem of press freedom, it remains interconnected through consolidated corporate ownership. Consider the structural influences within major news outlets. The New York Times has maintained family stewardship since its purchase by publisher Adolph Ochs in 1896, consistently reflecting specific editorial directions on international policy. Major outlets like The Washington Post, CNN, NBC, CBS, Bloomberg, and the AP frequently feature executives and editorial directors aligned with these established networks. Consequently, military actions are often framed around self-defense, while opposing resistance is categorized as terrorism. This bias serves as a strategic message control system, influencing global public opinion. Education is no exception. Academic debate can become constrained by ideological frameworks. Core disciplines in major American universities are deeply influenced by foundation grants and academic networks. In fields like economics, political science, international relations, and law, endowments from major foundations reinforce specific national security narratives. At institutions like Harvard, Yale, Columbia, and Princeton, concentrated academic funding helps solidify specific geopolitical frameworks. By blurring the line between prejudice and policy critique, scholarly analysis of military actions can be labeled as hostility, institutionalizing a form of intellectual restraint. Ultimately, journalists, scholars, and legal experts can function as a soft power elite. Figures within media and academia frequently rotate through positions in government, think tanks, and international bodies. Across different sectors, their roles are clearly distributed. The media manages narrative framing and public focus. Academia reproduces foundational ideologies for future leaders. The legal and political sectors construct the rationales that justify policy execution. While operating in separate domains, they serve a unified structural purpose, maintaining the established international framework. The lessons from this structure are profound. Visible power manifests through armaments and financial capital. However, true authority lies in controlling language, interpretation, and public sentiment. Concentrated networks excel at designing narratives, neutralizing critiques, and framing moral legitimacy. They use media to justify conflict, institutional channels to encourage compliance, and political influence to shape policy. Critical inquiry begins when we examine whether everyday information is being systematically curated,